second?
What are we gonna do? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So,
The sign across the table.
RDAs, we can do them anytime. Do we have anybody in the room right now for an RDA?
Yeah, Steve's.
What do you guys,
76 First Parish?
Yeah, that's the first one.
Is it Frazen?
Yep.
Frazen, 76A, First Parish Road septic repair. On April 1st, 2015, during the 6:15 meeting at the Town Hall, the Situate Conservation Commission will act on the request of Richard Frazen for a determination of applicability to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Scituate Wetlands bylaws to upgrade a failed septic system on property located at 76A, First Parish Road, Scituate. The butters and other interested parties are invited to attend.
So my name is Steve Hassett. I'm an engineer at Morse Engineering. I'm representing Richard Franzen, and I'm here for the RDA for the septic system repair at 76A First Parish Road. The existing 11,000 square foot lot. There's an existing 3-bedroom, single-family dwelling and a garage on the property. Off the back of the property, there's a water and vegetated wetland shown in blue, was flagged by Brad Holmes. The 50-foot setback is in red and the 100-foot setback is in green. And the house is currently serviced by a cesspool located down here at the bottom, it's about 30 feet from the wetland. And it's failed Title V inspection, found groundwater about a 1.5 down, which we're on the groundwater table. So for our proposed system, we have a foot treatment tank and a 1,500 gallon pump chamber located here. That'll pump it up to a 600 square foot leaching field located up here at the top of the property. We held it about 10 feet off the property line as far as we could away from the wetland. And by doing that, the leaching field is about 90 feet from the wetland. The tanks are about 72, they're a little further down the hill. And the closest work is where the current pipe leaves the house, and that's about 38 feet from the wetland here. We proposed draw wattles at the limit of work to prevent any sediments from running off into the wetland during construction. And we feel you can approve this plan because we comply with the setbacks to the wetland as we fill out our Title V. We're upgrading a failed system, failed cesspool. That's just 30 feet.
That's a lot closer to the, yeah, right, yeah.
And we proposed erosion control barriers during construction. And the Board of Health has approved the plan. Any questions?
Is this the house that?
Situate Brook.
Yeah.
No, I know where it is. Wasn't somebody in the fall?
That was Kelleher's, but he was at the end of Dunbar.
You're right.
Oh, he was at
Right,
that
I thought it
one.
was the same one. It's the next street
Yeah,
over, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I thought it was this street.
Yeah.
No,
There's
it
just a
looks,
couple little short roads that go to the
Yeah,
end. and then
exactly. No,
They
I-
probably went through almost at one time. They showed them to go through, but
Yeah, this right away continues past our property.
Right.
This is the last house on the road.
yeah,
yep.
it looks good to me, you're getting it into the, out of the 50. I don't know if there's any cleanup we might want to do, because I didn't get down there with Pat today.
Well, the one question I had, I know that Board of Health had comments. Do we have the same plan they have now, or is this a revised plan from the date?
This is the revised plan.
Okay. What's the date on that one, Steve?
The revision is 3/24.
What did the BOH have to say?
They're good with it. It's just that we should have the same plan.
Okay,
You know.
ours is 3-3. Yeah. The one I have in front of me.
All right.
Board of Health gave us one copy.
I'll get you more copies.
Oh, okay,
The
so
only
you got
change
one?
they had
Okay.
is off the property, about 140 feet, there's the Scituate Brook,
Yeah,
and they wanted that shown on the plan, but septic repairs are actually exempt from the riverfront rules anyways, so it's shown on here, but doesn't really apply.
all right.
I think this is a net improvement, and I don't have any problem with it, but I just want to use this opportunity to just get a little bit more education. So, when you talk about a leaching field, obviously this stuff is just seeping through the soil. So how much seeps through and then
Gets down.
it goes down? Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, how does that work, or how do you
It all
calculate
makes it
that?
through eventually, the idea is to have enough space so that the bacteria is able to break down the sewage before it makes it larger.
Is this, There's two tanks here, right?
Yeah.
There's a treatment tank and a pump chamber.
Yep.
So on that treatment tank, is there anything special about that, or is it typical septic?
The treatment tank is, it's actually a 3-compartment tank. In one of the compartments, they pump air into it, so that.
Oh, yeah, we've had that before, right,
Yeah.
okay,
The
okay.
tank.
So these are,
And,
Get
yeah,
new fancy ones.
yeah.
And because the treatment starts
And
happening
ballistic.
in the septic tank, then they allow to have a smaller separation and it kind of saves you the amount in the front yard.
Gotcha.
but the good part is that they've placed it as far from the wetlands
Yeah.
as they
Yep.
can.
Right.
And, you know, as he points out, you know, the idea is that with some sand, what eventually filters down. Years ago, they built a cesspool, and sometimes the way to make things work was they almost dug into the water table.
Yep.
And the new Title V, the whole idea was to protect the groundwater, and so that's why all the leaching
Yeah.
fields came up.
No, this seems like a net improvement, for sure.
This cesspool's probably sitting in the water table right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it's just leaking.
Yeah.
We had
If it
actual
failed,
water
you know.
at 16 inches.
Right. It's pretty
It's much better.
dense soil there, too, so.
Yeah.
Very old.
Lisa?
Think it sounds
I'm good.
good.
Pat?
I just had a couple of things. Even though the riverfront area doesn't come into play for the location of the leaching field, it should be on the plan because, and it should be mentioned, because they could come back and say, gee, we want to do a porch, we want to do something else, so we like to see it on there. It's not something that would hold it up. We'll just add to it on the DOA that there's also riverfront on there. The other thing is, I don't know what they're pumping. It might be basement water. They're pumping out through the foundation out into the wetland. They're running a hose out into the wetland. You know, if they have basement water, whatever, if they could direct it somewhere else so that it has more flow over the grass or through something else.
Put it uphill further.
Yeah, because right now it's shooting right into the, you know, not far from the river. But other than that, it's a great improvement
Where
for the
should
site.
the water go?
I mean, if it had more grass to flow over maybe before, but it's shooting right into it, you know, right into the marsh, so. It's, you know, they're heading for the low spot.
So send it out the other side.
Any idea where it's, well, the problem with that
Yeah.
is it's just gonna go right back through the basement, so they're not
Well, to
gonna-
the side, yeah,
Maybe it
yeah.
could go up towards the, let's give them
Yeah.
a little direction if we're gonna
Yeah.
ask for that.
Yeah.
Hopefully it could go back a little bit.
Is it in this back corner?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe they could direct it towards the back, like with the,
Up here.
Oh, no,
well, I
even-
wouldn't say,
yeah.
I wouldn't say way up there, but if it
Yeah.
just, because that's not gonna work either, it'll just freeze up and
Right,
be a problem. But if it went out the back to where it says like proposed straw wattle,
All right.
I
yeah.
think if they got it towards
Yeah.
that area, so it just had a chance to sheet
Yep.
down would be helpful.
My first thought it was, I hope it's not a really failed cesspool, and then this is
Yeah.
a live pipe going out to the, but,
I mean, there's a place where there's some homes that probably should have not been built, but
yeah. it's-
if they are, and so
Yeah.
we gotta work with that.
Mhm.
I'm surprised that, I guess sewage didn't make it down those little side streets.
Mhm.
When they went down, yeah.
Anybody in the audience for that? Pretty slim here. I think we're good.
I make a motion for -3.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody coming in for the town of Scituate for the,
No.
Old Forge?
Yeah, I was out there today, I met with Sean, and we have the, all the information. Anybody else make it out there to the Old Forge, well location? They needed to run,
Should I read this? Are we gonna
Sure.
open it?
yeah, we could, it should be fairly quick out there.
On April 1st, 2015, during the 6:15 meeting of the Town Hall of Scituate, Conservation Commission will act on the request of the Town of Scituate DPW for determination of applicability of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Scituate Wetlands bylaws for installation of a new emergency generator at well number 22 on property located at 66 Old Forge Road, Scituate. Butters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
They have to run a generator out there, and instead of another electrical line down there, whatever, they're gonna be running a gas line down beside the paved area and the shoulder, and then when it gets near the wetland, they're gonna put it underneath the paved area, and they're gonna run it into it's a pad, a concrete pad. It's gonna sit on top of that. So it's a two-step thing. They're gonna build the pad and put the generator in, and then they're gonna put up erosion controls and run the line down. It's probably 150 feet.
It's a fairly, it's set back a ways from the road.
Way back, yeah, yeah. And, it's in riverfront, and, that's,
Yep.
it's near the wetland, but they're gonna, they're gonna use erosion controls, and they are gonna run it under the street, the driveway, so.
Okay.
Well, they can, so.
Did they give us any kind of a sketch or anything?
Oh, yeah, yeah, oh, you don't have that.
Frank. No.
Is it anywhere near the chicken coop?
No.
It is, about a quarter of a mile.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, the chicken coop's gotta go.
Real close.
Close to the river, too. Stop bringing up the chicken.
No.
Yes.
I'm
sorry.
So here's the street, and the line is going on the shoulder for a while, and then when it gets near the wetland, it goes underneath the paved driveway. So this is already here.
Is this a backup generator, or it's gonna be running all the time?
I think it's for emergencies.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is for emergencies, it's not an emergency?
Right. It's
Okay.
working now, this is
Okay.
planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's
Trying to
getting
stay ahead.
DPW to follow
Gotcha.
this too. It's,
That makes a difference.
It's proactive.
Yeah.
it is. And they don't have to pay fees for filing, they can waive filing fees, they have to pay for the ad.
Okay.
Looks fine.
Stay on them, Pat.
Make a motion for a -3.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Great. Do we want to just get Booth Hill,
He isn't coming till 7. Pat told him to come at 7.
Oh,
Right, yeah, these guys probably just waiting for us to.
okay, let's get going on that then.
What is this?
Middle school discussion.
Middle
What
school.
about it?
Well, the middle school is being
We got the
built
Right.
towards
pool out
here.
there.
Yeah, right.
The detention pond / vernal pool.
Okay, so that they're
They wanna-
giving us a game plan.
Were you here?
I
on the
was.
Commission when
Yep.
they had the informal on
Yep.
site?
I was not, Anxious to get her
It's gonna affect our lives.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll hear the same story.
Yep.
Which side should we switch?
Whatever's
Much
good for you
nicer
guys.
for a seat than a classroom.
Carol, you want to see this?
Sorry? Oh, yeah.
Go over here.
Holy. Our audience just quadrupled.
Brought the whole crew.
I think these are all the presenters. I don't know. I didn't think they drew a crowd tonight, unfortunately.
This is exciting.
Hope you're saying that after you're done.
Well, we might have comments to make, but it's still very exciting that it's all going forward.
We get some calls about the flagging already. What's going on? I saw flags near my house. Oh.
It's very rarely that, never, that you can actually point to what you're talking about.
So I'm John
You don't
Richardson, joining with
Yeah.
our whole team here
Yeah.
with this. Brian is from the landscape architect, Jennifer's our civil engineer, Mark is a wetland specialist, Shane's our OPM, and Don Walters, principal engineer here in Scituate resident. So we just wanted to update you kind of informally about where we are. We just finished design development, and we'll be doing 60% CDs at our next milestone in our school process. What we wanted to do is check in with you before we develop up the 60% CDs, because at the end of that point, civil and landscape will be pretty set, we'll be ready to come and submit an NOI and come before we formally. We want to make sure that our approach on several issues is on target before we design it all. And that's why we're really here. We're going to let Brian talk a little bit about setbacks, but I will say that architecturally, the school is We flagged and surveyed the wetlands, we haven't surveyed the entire site fully at this point. We'd be doing some more surveying, looks like sooner than I thought. But at the closest point, the school is 136 feet off of the vernal pool, so we were better than the 125, kind of unofficial setback, but that's the school building. And then we wanted to talk about some of the other work, which is closer than that. That said, I think I'll let Brian have that.
Good evening. As John said, my name is Brian Bacon. I'm from Brown Sardina, a landscape architecture firm on the team. And the first plan I would like to show is just talk about some materials briefly. This dark gray is the new road construction leading into the parking lot and the main drop-off for parents. And we also have handicap parking on this side. Bus drop-off comes on the west, and the buses come around and return and leave the property. The beige color is new sidewalk. It's going to be a mixture of concrete pavement and bituminous concrete pavement. The blue areas are areas where we're going to take storm runoff from the parking lot and adjacent areas and push all that rainwater into retention basins. And we also have a rain garden on this edge, which is different than the basins, but similar. It's to get infiltration of stormwater, keep the water out of the basin, storm drains. However, because of this drop-off at the front door, the road gets within 35 feet of the vernal pool, this curb. The back edge of the sidewalk gets within 25 feet of the sidewalk. And we're grading this area around 3-to-1, and we're not touching the extents of the vernal pool with this grading. And one time we had a retaining wall that was pushing the grade steeper, but we've been able to eliminate that wall and push things back. For circulation in here, we can't get this further away, mainly because of that handicap parking. So those are really materials. And before I turn this over, one element to note is that there is an existing field within the setback. So already there is disturbance and mowing within the setback.
Could I, before you go on, could I ask one quick question? Where is the roadway that's out there now? This, if you could just point that out to me, I'd have a better idea of how close you are coming in.
The main roadway,
That's the road that's there now?
we share the roadway right about up until here, and then it's the existing parking. We're actually removing some of the
Okay,
parking.
yeah.
And moving this roadway east about 20 feet. And then the roadway, that's for the parking over here, but then we are encroaching another 20 feet for this roadway because the existing edge is approximately right here.
So that's where the buses are parked now?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the idea of how much closer you are than going to be to the vernal pool than the roadway already is.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to know where the roadway was.
At this point, we're further away.
Yeah.
But at this point, we're
Yeah, when you-
approximately 35, 40 feet.
Okay,
I don't have the exact measurement off the top of my head.
okay, just, thank you.
Okay, before you go, one
Yeah.
more time. Up in the upper left-hand corner, those other blue areas, so those are retention basins too?
Yes, this is.
For runoff from the school itself, et cetera?
Not the building itself, but
Yeah.
these are stormwater retention basins for all the pavement in the courtyard. The way the grading plan works is we're pitching from the vestibule out to the road, but there's an opportunity to capture a lot of rainwater in this area right here before it gets to the drop
So
for the buses.
Is that the front of the school there?
No,
How is the
it's over
school
here.
oriented?
Sorry.
yeah, the front of the middle school. The
Yeah.
main entrance to the middle school will be
Okay,
here.
okay,
The main entrance to the high school
Gotcha.
is and will remain over here.
okay.
And I should have explained, part of our whole strategy is to separate high school traffic from middle school traffic. So this will only be staff and visitors and parents either dropping off or parking there. The connection will be there for emergency vehicles, but through gate or signage, a shortcut through will be strongly discouraged. We know that is the case now. And all the buses, I should have said, all the buses are here, because there's shared buses now, middle school and high school. So the buses will pull off to the side, allowing the pass-through for high school car traffic. And middle school students will walk through this courtyard into middle school, high school students through.
And so where's the high school parking?
High school's parking
Where
is
is it?
exactly
Where it is
where it
now.
is, where we've looked at modifying that, but there's nowhere to go, really.
Gotcha,
No, you can't take the field.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Will buses be stored somewhere else, or are they going to be off-site?
My understanding is is taking them offsite.
The next plan I would like to show and talk about briefly is seed management after construction. Mowed lawn is going to be around the perimeter of the building, but as you move closer into the basins, there's going to be two different types of seed mix. One is for the basins themselves, and as well as conservation wildlife mixture. And then around the vernal pool, there's going to be the conservation wildlife seed mixture. So even though that this pavement is getting closer, we're capturing 35, 40 feet all the way around the vernal pool and restoring it to increase the wildlife habitat. In addition to all the stormwater management basins. which-
That's mowed lawn right now, and it's going to be...
Yes,
yeah.
and now it won't be mowed.
It won't be.
So how close is the mowed lawn to the vernal pool?
Right now,
On-
on some occasions, they mow into the
Part
burn.
of it. I was gonna say they're-
They've been known to mow in the
Yeah.
summer.
You mean in the proposed condition?
Right,
It's 65 feet plus or minus
okay.
away.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And I believe Jennifer will talk some more about watershed and basins.
Is there a reason that all those areas can't be a rain garden as opposed to a detention area?
I'm going to speak a little bit more to that, but they are all bioretention basins or rain gardens. So they're all very similar, shallow, not deep
Okay.
vegetated filtration areas.
Is there any other plantings proposed in that area that you're talking about, a wetlands mix? Have you got any other shrubs or?
We just didn't highlight them. There's a number of trees and shrubs in this island here. There'll be some more trees not in the basins themselves, but on the uphill, the northern edge of the basin. And then there's trees along either edge of the road. They're just a little hard to see on this plan right now.
Frank, when we were out there, we also talked about enhancing the area between the junior high and the vernal pool. Do you remember that, Dawn? That you were going to try to do some real enhancement and hopefully use it as a outdoor classroom, a walkway, and,
Right.
Remember that, yeah.
you know,
You're
things
right.
like that
You're
we
right.
talked about.
There is an outdoor classroom area here where we'll have some special benches for the outdoor classroom, as well as raised planters for herb garden planting and other plantings that the students can use.
And if I could,
Yeah.
it didn't make the drawing, but we do have a dock
Yes,
working its way out over the vernal pool for water collection and observation. It's not on this drawing yet, but we haven't forgotten about it.
Okay, because I don't want to see kids going every which way,
Correct. Yep,
okay? I want a pathway.
yep.
Thank you.
And that's one thing also with you can delineate that where that movement with the mowed lawn versus the seed mixture.
Yeah.
And if you just mow the lawn right up against the building and the fire lane, you'll have a line of delineation between the areas that students should go and should not.
But
Not to say that they,
let's face it, if kids aren't directed very closely, they're gonna just plow through that grass, horsing around.
The way that the drainage exists now, everything, all of this paved surface, all of it's dumping into this right now?
There is a large portion of the parking lot, and especially right behind here, Town Hall, that does drain directly into the vernal pool.
We
Okay.
have no idea why it lives. It likes it, I guess.
Yeah, so you'll talk about the
Yeah, I'll get into it a
stormwater.
little
Okay,
more.
great, thanks.
Jennifer's approach has been to
you want me to
keep
jump right in?
keep it neutral, right?
Right,
In terms of
sure.
water levels.
Right, keep the water level neutral, but
No.
north or south first.
we'll start south. Hi.
Oh. Oh.
Stay wet,
Yeah.
okay.
So my name is Jennifer Johnson. I'm a civil engineer with NIBS Engineering. We've been working on site utilities and especially the stormwater management on the site. And Brian touched a little bit on some of the surface practices that we're proposing, but I wanted to dive a little bit more in depth into kind of all the different elements that we're looking at on the project site. I think a good way to start would be to show you all the design points that we're evaluating at. So starting over here on the west portion of the site, a lot of the existing drainage comes down the driveway from the high school entrance towards 3A, so that's our first design point. The second is the second driveway coming down past the fire station and is east of Town Hall towards First Parish Road. The third is the vernal pool, which we'll talk a lot closer about. And the fourth is it's on the north side of the site. It's the wetland located northwest of the track. Up over here. So there is a closed drainage system that comes back, collecting this portion of the site, goes through the track and field area and discharges out towards that wetland. So at each of those design points, we're looking at controlling stormwater as to not increase stormwater runoff from into the proposed condition, even though we might be changing the cover type and increasing impervious areas in some cases. We'll be proposing extensive stormwater treatment and mitigation practices to keep things better, hopefully, than the existing condition. I think it's also worth noting that on the existing site right now, there's no stormwater treatment. Water is either flowing into catch basins and discharging straight towards the wetlands or the roadways, or sheet flowing into the vernal pool. And I wanted to point out for the vernal pool, there is an existing pipe that cuts, located right here, and it cuts back through the town hall site towards 3A. And we believe that that's what's controlling the water elevation in the existing condition, and we're not proposing to change that in the proposed condition because we want to balance the water that's being discharged to the vernal pool. So our approach for the proposed condition is to implement low-impact development practices as much as we can throughout the site. So on this plan, you can see all the green areas are the rain gardens and bioretention basins that Brian mentioned. We put those as much as we can to treat the water as close to the source as possible. So each of these parking lots will drain to these surface practices. And we really like bioretention for this site because it provides some water filtration and infiltration, while also enhancing the aesthetics of the site and providing a little bit of wildlife habitat. And we'll work closely with Brian to make the best plant selection and really try to enhance the area, especially for these two that are located closest to the vernal pool. So after the water is captured and treated, we're proposing to recharge the groundwater to the maximum extent that we can on the site using these subsurface infiltration systems. There are two on the front of the site and then one also proposed back here that will capture and treat water from this back parking lot area. We also have two infiltration trenches proposed on the north side of these parking lots that are going to capture water that's flowing towards the site. We just want to intercept it and infiltrate it right away. We don't want it flowing into the parking lot areas, so that's why we added those. And the work over here is pretty minimal. We did talk a little bit with Pat about adding some water quality treatment within the existing drain inlets to try to improve the existing condition, even though we're not working necessarily in all these areas back here, but he mentioned that that would be looked favorably upon, so we're happy to try to improve the existing condition as much as possible. We'll be doing the same thing for the drain inlet that's in this existing parking area, right here, associated with the town hall lot. So I think that's a quick overview. I don't know if you have any specific questions.
Yeah, both Bill and I have a question here.
Okay.
It has to do with, this is a very unique vernal pool. It has buses around it, it has cars around it, it has garbage going in there, basically the water, but it is thriving. It gets mowed periodically, it gets thriving. I guess our concern is if it becomes too pure, or if not enough water gets there, we don't want to lose it.
Right. Well, I can certainly address the quantity aspect of your question. A lot of times, we're looking to reduce stormwater as much as possible, but with the vernal pool, we're looking to balance it.
Okay.
So we won't be reducing the amount of water that's going towards it.
Yeah.
We might be cleaning it up a little bit.
It's
As
going to
we're
be
required
interesting because it has thrived, and let's face it, this stuff gets in there that shouldn't, because we have buses all packed along. And,
Like oil and gas, but.
for some reason, the
there will
critters
still be
love it.
some nutrient load going towards it, from the vegetation that surrounds it. So I don't think it's going to be, completely pure. We're not dumping like bottled water or something,
we don't want
some natural
pristine.
cycling. But I think with the natural basins, it kind of helps restore more of a natural balance without going over the top.
Okay.
We're going to comply with the standards, but
Yeah.
How does subsurface filtration
so
systems work?
These
How-
chambers here underneath,
Yes.
they can either be chambers or piped. They're located at about, if you can picture, maybe 4 feet below grade. You have crushed stone, and then on top of that, you would either have pipes or these arched chambers that create a void space. And then on top of that, more crushed stone, and then you would have your pavement on top. So it's fed by pipes that allows the water to pond up underground and then recharge back into groundwater. So the soils information that we have right now for most of the site is really promising for infiltration. So that's why we want to max that out. And
So
then-
you specify what type of filtration when you get better soil samples and a better idea of what you have to deal with?
Well, we have some soil samples now.
Yeah.
We
And
do.
We're going to do some more. We're going to do some
Gotcha.
test pits in the spring to really confirm.
Gotcha.
confirm that.
One thing we did want to understand, I think, a little bit more are some of Situate's local requirements. We understand from the stormwater management standards that you have higher requirements for areas that are critical, like in the Water Resources Protection District, you have higher treatment requirements, which we're
Yes.
designing for. But you also have a requirement, it looks like, for stormwater volume. And we wanted to get a sense from you as to what you're looking for specifically for that higher.
Pat, is this going to be us?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be
I
him.
think that when it's a project this size, we follow the DEP stormwater management guidelines.
Okay.
The stormwater bylaw we have for the town is mostly geared toward, projects that are smaller than that, so single family. But that would be a question for the planning board too.
Okay, we can pose that to them.
Because that's a high standard to reach.
It is a 100-year volume.
Right.
Right. It's
Right.
making our infiltration much larger.
That's why these are
Right.
so large. And we're designing towards the LEED standard, which is
Right.
really high with the new LEED, which is a building, that's what I describe, a building standard for both interior and exterior environmental standards. And for that, we are looking to fully infiltrate the 95th percentile of the storm, meaning that 95% of the water that's falling onto the site on an annual basis will be going into the ground. So it's really only the largest storms that wouldn't fully infiltrate. So we are designing above and beyond already the stormwater management standards to reach that standard.
Yeah, I mean, that gets brought up every once in a while, but I think if you can meet all of the DEP standards, we don't have an overlapping bylaw on top of that, but planning board, I mean, they may ask for higher than what DEP.
Okay. And we will be exceeding that, so we can document that and speak with them.
Can I clarify one more point? I know I've been monopolizing that. This is fascinating. So in the upper right-hand corner, we're currently discharging into a vernal pool? Is that,
What, a wetland?
yeah, the wetland?
The wetland.
This one up top by the track? Yes.
And that's untreated now, but is there a plan to do something with that now, or,
Well,
I mean, in your future plans?
in the area that we're modifying, which is back here, we will be improving the water quality and recharging before discharging. So to answer
So
your
there will
question,
be
yes.
some remedy
Same level
addressed to that?
standard.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay,
Some improvement, but we're not proposing to redo.
understood, because it's not
Part of the project.
Right.
part of what you're doing. yeah.
Only what's within the limit of work footprint.
Do we know what actually flows out there? Is there piping underneath the,
There is, I'm sorry, the survey isn't quite complete in this area, but there is quite a bit of piping that runs through the track that collects from actually both sides, and then discharges out towards the wetland.
is there a single discharge point, or do we know what that is?
I know there's at least one that I can picture. We have some record drawings, but I'm not sure if there's more than one.
But that's mainly based on the 99 renovation projects drawings.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
The final survey, I think, will pick up any extra discharge points. But we'll be tying into that system way back up here. We're not planning to go in that way, so we'll be matching the quantity further into the site. Yeah, we don't want to change the
Lisa?
system.
Do you have any questions? Richard?
Good so far.
I just, I guess we did have that meeting, an informal meeting last year at the field and talked about what our concerns were. And our thought was that we already have a lot of pre-existing issues. You should point out that right now the lawn goes to the field, and in fact, it's been mowed, and it hasn't really been treated as a vernal pool. If this were an undisturbed site, there'd be a buffer of at least 125 feet. So when we talked about that, we thought, you know, any improvements would be good, but obviously we'd like to have as much as possible. I was surprised a little bit to see how close the access road got in that corner. It's pretty tight. And I'm wondering if we can enhance that area. It's also, looks like a pretty steep slope going down to the,
In terms of vegetation.
can we maybe pop that one back up? And I don't, whether it's Jennifer or Brian, or both of you.
Where the playground is now.
And just to address that a little bit, Frank, because, you know, we were still in the preliminary stage, and I know the 125 was, we were using that as the magic number.
Right.
And as we got into the development and looking at car counts, and really it has a lot to do with parent drop-off, trying to create a large enough loop for parents to get in and get out, but not, at the same time, not affecting the parking lot. So
My mother's the crossing guard at the current middle school, so I can appreciate the traffic issues. And I served on the public building committee when we were doing the high school, and gave you guys some of the issues you got to deal with now, so.
So that's how we ended up where we are.
Yeah.
And we know it's not ideal, so what we'd like to be able to do is be able to try to mitigate that with its current design, if that becomes.
Well, certainly getting the parking away in some of these other spots is good. I guess my point would be that that's a real pinch point at that spot, and so anything we can do to maybe enhance some plantings, do anything to sort of really create a denser or more protected area, as a landscape architect or surveyor, you guys ought to be able to work on some of that, maybe with Mark, think about what would be most appropriate there. And then all the way around the vernal pool, there hasn't been much done. I mean, it's been grass and a few trees, but truly, if this were a vernal pool, that would more than likely be more like blueberry. There'd be a whole bunch of other plant species around that vernal pool, and that was what I was hopeful would happen, that it wouldn't be just some grass, but it would actually be more bushes and plantings.
Shrubs.
Yeah, that would protect that and maybe encourage more bird life, other things other than just, Pat's wood frog call that he had in his pocket that, we haven't heard another one out there since then, but.
It's just a lucky day.
But I'm just, where we are at a preliminary area and you're not that far along with design, I would really hope that, and I realize that budget gets to be issues, but, rather than have full-blown bushes at this point, small ones will develop into larger ones, and so if it's a way to make that work, I think as a commission, we're fine as long as the end of the day, even if it's 20 years from now, or 10 years from now, we get a nice planting around that would be protective. And as Penny points out, the more things that are planted like that, the more it's protected. And the people have to realize that that's no longer going to be a lawn right up to that piece, that it has another significance, and we want to try to make that.
Right, and one other thing we've talked about as a design item.
It's okay.
Is creating.
You still boss, you can.
I know. Creating a buffer between, or a delineation between what's going to be managed lawn and the restored vegetation, whether it be,
We like to put like these granite blocks about this high so it wipes out the lawnmower before they get to
so it trips them up.
Only have to hit it once.
Yeah. Right, Mike?
Yeah. What I was going to suggest is, since we haven't fully developed the planting plan for this, that it probably doesn't make sense to just move forward and go into our construction documents and come back at 60%, whatever that is. I guess I would suggest we come back sooner rather than later with a proposed plan that we can then talk about in further detail. We want to give you the big picture tonight, and then come back with more of the details that we can get down into the nitty-gritty.
One of the things I'd written down was that at some point there ought to be some sort of a planting plan and the species that the trees you want to put in, or the bushes, the kinds and all, which we would normally ask from any group. And Frank jumped the gun, and now you've already answered it, so it's good.
Well, bushes, trees, all that sort of thing that would be appropriate around that would
Well,
be.
we want to create a habitat.
Yeah.
Yeah, enhance it as much as we can.
But I would be curious too, just what is going out to that other wetland that, if we know what we're discharging and there's if we were looking at this other than a town site, if it was a commercial project that was coming before us, we would certainly be looking at the whole site, and I don't think that's any different here. If there's discharges out there and maybe some small improvements could be made, we don't know what gets washed into that water, but if that's a way that could be improved somewhat.
We are treating that design point the same as all the others, so we will be meeting all of the standards towards that design point. And it will be, you'll have a full-fledged stormwater report, so we can better document that for you, but.
And I know this goes contrary to that being a vernal pool, but is there a discharge pipe from this?
From the vernal pool?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's typically not supposed to.
But it's
It's there, I know, I know you're inheriting, so it's something that I think would be important to make sure that we address, so we know where that is and how that's gonna impact the vernal pool.
So in our hydrologic model, we will include that pipe so that we can see how the change in site will affect that water level. And we don't like to see it be increased by very much at all. We want to see it stay pretty true to the current condition, because we don't want to impact what's living in there, by sending a lot more water or a lot less water. So that's something that we'll be designing towards.
Okay, good. Is there anything else you want to bring in tonight? Anybody else? Anybody in the audience?
No, not really. I had a few things to say, but I think it's been covered pretty well at this point. The people who have spoken have established pretty clearly that this project's been designed with sensitivity toward the vernal pool. And you guys are asking pertinent questions at this point, which I think the team is taking into consideration. So
it's pretty obvious to me that this is a restoration of habitat plan around the vernal pool. I think in the end, the wildlife habitat value will be improved by this project.
I would hope so, yeah.
Yeah, so we're getting into the nitty-gritty of how it's going to be improved in terms of what the planting plan's going to look like and that sort of stuff, so.
Pat, you,
Sounds good. I mean, you may want to even just send in something that we could review rather than bring the whole team in. And we could go through it at a meeting and then get questions to you rather than tie up everybody.
We're happy to
There's a lot of.
Well, you might just send on. But it is a unique situation
Yes, it
we
is.
have out there.
Yeah, these are the
Very
stormwater, types of stormwater structures that we're promoting all throughout. I think that's great that these are there.
Good.
just don't come back with one closer to it.
Yeah. No.
Well, thank you very much.
Appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
in very
Thanks
much.
for your time.
Thank you.
Coming.
We'll look forward to seeing you again.
It's exciting.
Oh, great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks.
The poor frogs who get dehydrated. Yeah,
Oh, this is great.
right.
Excuse me? No, probably not, only because there'll be other people coming in.
Such a weird
Everything's
winter.
behind. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm just glad.
This is great, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, this is good. I'm glad.
Of course, now we'll be able to compare them when you come back.
These are descriptions of the two C-mixes that we were thinking about. One is for.
Yeah, yeah, obviously, because they have drainage pipe in there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, cool.
Okay, yeah. Good. Oh, that's great.
That'll be pretty. Good night.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks again.
Forward to-
These yours?
I'm leaving those.
Sounds good. That'll be good. All right, thanks. So you want to dirty it up so that it's more like it currently is? Is that the idea?
Well, we just can't get it.
You know something?
That's
The
it.
world's getting too clean. I think
That's what it is. That's,
Well, you just, something is.
I bet they've never had that question before.
I know that, but it's.
That was good. That's one of the better ones you pulled out.
No, got the thought going.
Well, you said if we stop water going into it, then
Might
what's going to
dry up,
happen?
now
Be a dehydrated
After how much
tadpole.
I've fought for that?
We're gonna have a whole new commission in a couple of months. I can just see it.
Yeah, my time's almost up.
Oh, no.
Oh,
You're being groomed.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
What was that thing the other night they had, they were talking about TV series or whatever, and they said the bad news is when the next script is that you're being put in the trunk, that's probably.
Yeah.
You're
nearing the end.
Yeah.
oh, man.
Do Mr. Gilligan, 64 Booth Hill Road. On April 1st, 2015, during the 6:15 meeting of the Town Hall, the Scituate Conservation Commission will act on the request of Michael Gilligan for a determination of applicability of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and Scituate Wetlands bylaws to remove asphalt, reconfigure driveway, build a stone wall and patio, install underground utilities and plantings on property at 64 Booth Hill Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend.
It's an antique, so.
Mike Gilligan, 64 Booth Hill Road.
Fire away.
Hey, well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to propose my ideas here. And the goal is just to, pretty much just to reconfigure the driveway and remove the asphalt. Which would definitely help with runoff issues.
Way up here,
Where's the wetland?
and then there's a long driveway that goes in and goes into the houses. So there's a driveway that goes in and splits and goes this way. And then this is an existing home.
So-
It's an
And
antique.
it's already a
And the driveway's here, and he's moving it over this way, so he's moving it farther away from it.
He's moving it.
And then there's a barn here.
Rid of the
Yep.
asphalt.
Oh,
He's
it's
gonna
a
have-
impervious?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and then he wants to. Well, he'll
Okay.
tell us. Tell us everything you want to do, Michael.
Well, first of all, as we were talking about the driveway, just to kind of reconfigure the way the driveway is set up, and by removing the asphalt, I think it was around 1,700 square feet of asphalt I'd like to remove. It would actually help with the drainage, because what I want to do is have it as a grass driveway going in with some stone run strips for the cars, and then in that area there, I'd like to put crushed stone, more towards the barn, which would also help with the runoff, and just kind of, the water would kind of just work its way through on that. And also, I'd like to add plantings, too. Add some cobblestone aprons. One would be by the corner of the driveway when you come in, where the mailbox is set up. And then also, heading into this reconfigured driveway, which I'd like to put a cobblestone apron there also. There's a couple areas I'd like to add some stone walls, and first would be coming into my driveway area where the mailbox area is, and that's kind of on this plan that we've done, that's kind of sketched in, and then also, I'd like to add a patio, and that would have a stone wall.
Can you show us kind of where we can't see that
Yeah,
easily.
it's actually right here, Frank.
With that
Do you want me to
black-
bring this plan up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. You got it, Lisa. That's it.
Come on over. Existing asphalt, and this would be the reconfiguration.
Right.
You know, just
And where's the
kind of
patio?
Circular driveway. The patio's
Okay, I'm
right
sorry.
here.
Mhm.
Kind of right off the porch area.
And what would that be constructed?
It'd probably be bluestone that I'd like to put on it.
But a lot of this is paved right now.
This is, yes, yep.
So this is a net decrease in impervious
huge
surface,
decrease.
right?
Huge decrease, Bill.
Yeah. And it's moving further away from
From the
the wetlands.
Yes.
Right.
This-
All good things.
These old cesspools are gone, right? They were eliminated when the septic system was
Yes,
put
they
in.
were. Yep.
And what are these here?
I'd like to plant some trees.
Okay. And do you know what kind they would be?
You know, what, I'm thinking English oaks. Something nice, upright, strong.
Oh.
Very little shape.
This is already a field.
No, I understand that,
So
actually.
grass.
Yeah.
And then the
What's this thing right here?
Does he know
That would be a cobblestone apron.
Does he know?
And then what I was gonna do is just plant some birch trees and just some other vegetation in the center right here.
Richard. Richard.
And then the barn entrance, which is, right now, it's in good shape.
Big time.
I was going to add cobblestones to the entrance of the barn.
Shouldn't we have just the specifics spelled out when he comes back to us? Yes, yeah. Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's not like we've got a planting that's going up against the
No,
wetland.
no, no,
The wetlands is here, and there's a
Oh,
slope going down to that.
I think it's great.
I think there's one spot that looked like it could use some erosion control when you come in on the driveway, when you start to take the turn. That
Yes.
stretch there would be the one spot when you took
Maybe
up
like
the
by
pavement.
flags 8, 5, and 4.
Yeah, as you, you're down the driveway a little way,
Yep.
just before you make the turn there, yeah.
You're very close, it's all.
Now, I could put a bunch of hydrangeas in that area when you come in.
Yeah, but I mean, just erosion controls as you're digging up the,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Just want to, when you disturb that driveway, Mike, if it would have rained or something like that, so any runoff that went down the, right where the
Yep.
driveway's close to the wetlands, you know how when you come down the driveway and it splits
Yes.
and goes off, that wetlands is really fairly close at the bottom of that slope. So it would just, in that area where you were showing some plantings along the driveway, maybe just below those, a row of hay bales or
Hay bales,
something
yeah.
like that.
Sure, yep.
Would be the right thing to do there.
And the rink can stay.
Oh, the ice skate rink.
I'm a true hockey,
Yeah, that's right. Don't take the rink away.
That's for
Can't
my
have a
wife-
chicken-
That's for my wife's sanity.
we can't have a chicken coop anywhere near the wetlands, but we can put a rink right over the top.
No
of it.
manure in a rink.
I don't know about that.
I've practice skating. Okay, we good?
All right.
Well, all right. Anybody
Hit
in
it.
the audience?
Yeah, anybody else for this?
I
You
make a
didn't draw
motion.
much of a crowd, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's a good
It's a
thing.
good thing, yeah.
I make a motion for -3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's good. A negative is what you want.
That's a good thing. Perfect. You're good.
You're all set.
All right, well,
I
thank
think
you
they
very
even
much.
got, I think there's even an outhouse on this site, or maybe the adjacent site.
Yes, there is.
The outhouse is
Really?
down behind the barn.
The moon
Wait a minute, now,
window.
there's got to be an issue about that.
But you have to
Just
remember,
go,
it
go,
was-
Mike, go,
it wasn't
go quickly.
built-
Stay away from that.
Go quickly.
When was the house built, Michael?
Early 1600s.
17. It was after my house. Mine's 1699.
Oh, yeah? Well,
No, but that
Yeah,
outhouse.
it's good.
has been
In
there
answer
for
to
a
that
long
would be, you're
time.
right, Penny.
Yeah.
I just.
That's where the outhouse is.
I'm gonna get him there before your hearing.
Down the street.
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Have a good night now, thanks.
See you, Mike.
Friends with Jim. And they could be
That's my next bill.
Oh, they're identical.
Funny.
Okay. Okay.
Did we both that?
Yes, we did. -3. We're all set.
Yep.
So,
Moving on.
who do we got next?
Informal.
Chief Justice Cushing. 20 minutes late. We're close, though. Pretty close.
You're up.
Come on up.
No, we were getting you on. We said around 7, but not too bad.
7-ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish. Here.
Is that this one?
Yep, we got it. Right here. It's the marina. Right?
Right? Yeah, oh, yes, okay.
You got everything unraveled coming?
I think so. We'll give it a shot.
Okay.
Okay, again, my name's Kevin McGuire, and with me is Road, the new owner of North River Marina, Johnny
Sit
Zarella.
down.
Okay, thanks. Johnny Zarella was the previous owner, and we lost 8 of the 9 piles that were holding the marina together, and we have to get this thing up and running, because you have to get the floats in by the 1st of May. Yeah, so.
Oh, no, I just wanted to thank you guys, because I know it came before you, that the fact that we needed to redrive the piles, and you guys turned it around extremely quickly. So I want to thank you for the opportunity tonight, but specifically with that disaster situation, I appreciate you guys turning that around so quickly with that extension, so.
Certainly.
You gave an extension, right.
Yeah, everybody's gotten pounded by this storm, and we
Right,
tried to
right, sure.
help where we.
So what, between Eric talking to Johnny Zarella, since they have to drive the piles, new piles in, they wanted to make 2 slight modifications to the layout of the floats. And the main, I could give you this, probably a lot, trying to follow. Yeah, we're a low budget operation, so they come.
I think that's very good, actually. Saving trees.
Good.
That's okay.
Remember that when he gives you the bill.
Yeah, he prints it on both sides, he thinks I'm gonna pay it twice.
First off, well, let me explain, there's 2 float layouts here. One is float layout A, which is right here, and the other is float layout B.
Hey, which is the long one, okay.
Yeah, float layout A there. You'll see it in the dark lines there, and then this is float layout B. And here we go. A, B. All right, what we want to do is take float layout A and move it about 24 feet further out into the river. And we're doing that within what they call a reconfiguration zone that was not approved by the Conservation Commission, but it was approved by DEP, Chapter 91, and the Army Corps. When we were going on our long trail to get all of these permits at that time, we weren't thinking of the reconfiguration zone. But since we had the river floats and we were doing the dredging, we had to tie everything down with coordinates, state coordinate system. So at that time, they suggested that we do a reconfiguration zone on the property. So float layout A, we're pushing it out about 24 feet, going to be within that reconfiguration zone. That's item number 1. Item number 2 is to remove an existing float that's behind float layout A, which is right there, crosshatch. Right here? No, right there, it's crosshatched.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small little float. Right there.
Okay.
All right, and what we're going to do with that is bring it along at the end of these floats that are running down, the existing floats that are running down the ramp. We're going to add it there, and that will tie in to the floats that we pushed out. That will help, that's how we provide the access to it. Right now, the access is off of a pier in the ramp, which is right here. We're going to remove that ramp. There won't be any access from that ramp, from the pier down to the ramp. So that's one of the things.
Where is that? Right at the road, right at the bridge?
It would be right at the, if you're looking at the boat ramp, to the left of the boat ramp.
Oh.
Let me see. Okay. It is confusing, this very busy plan. Here's float layout A here.
Right. Here's the regular ramp that comes
right,
down.
and see,
Yeah.
that was the ramp, that's the pier, and that was the ramp that was coming down to it.
Oh, this goes all the way over.
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah,
looking.
follow the
Yep.
arrows.
Oh, okay, okay.
And number 3, number 2 is remove that float. Number 3 is to remove the existing ramp, which at this time on. And number 4 is to add a new 5-foot by 24-foot float to the end of the line of the floats on the boat ramp. And again, that's what I had just mentioned, which is this float, just to provide the access.
And that's the one that's gonna come out an additional 24 feet.
Yeah.
So it doesn't go out into the channel 24 feet, it's more
No, it...
parallel to the river.
It's parallel, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
going that way.
No,
No.
yeah, okay,
It's
now
right
I get
there.
you.
Yeah, now it's
Yep,
just being
yep.
slid out 24
Yep,
feet.
yep, yep. So this is already cleared, Chapter 91, and it doesn't trigger Army Corps or anything like
Yes,
that?
it does.
Oh.
Let me explain again the
Oh,
process.
sorry.
We went to the North River Commission, and we have a letter that we can give you that they approved this change. Hopefully, if you folks go along with it, our next step with your concurrence and with the Rivers letter, we will then notify Chapter 91 and the Army Corps. I shouldn't say this, but there shouldn't be a problem because it's within the
Reconfiguration zone,
that
yep.
they approved.
You're not asking yourself.
So,
Yeah.
are you driving steel or?
No, they're green hot piles.
Yeah. Same thing happened at our yacht club, and I think we're gonna go, to the helix thing or something, to
Yeah.
anchor it rather than.
Yeah.
That's steel?
Yeah.
Do you have to jet these, Kevin, or can they just?
No,
be driven?
Eric has lined up a pile driver that's coming up the river at the end of Vibrator.
Good.
And
Vibration.
he'll vibrate those in. Right, if we saw in the minus diagram, a plaque go the area, and one pile is tilted so you can't see it unless it's a real low tide. The other, one pile is still standing, but it's cracked. And 2 are snapped off, and the others are just
Amazing.
Wow.
gone.
That is
Just gone.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was quite a surprise.
Yeah.
I think after one of the
That'd be a new
storms,
purchase.
I came over the bridge and I looked over and I'm just said, where are they?
Yeah.
We're in park, and I jumped over and said, oh, no, they're all gone. The whole thing was gone.
Yeah, welcome to the North River.
Isn't that something?
And Eric-
John's the luckiest guy in the world. He sells the place, and then 2 months later, it all collapses.
He should know better too, or not better, but he should be aware of it because he grew up in Marshfield, and went back to high school, so he knows the area. So welcome back. All right, the next change is the float layout A and B. If you look down at float layout B, you'll see crosshatched 3 finger floats down here. We're gonna take those finger floats and we're gonna bring them around and we're gonna stick them behind this new float layout A that we pushed out into the river. That will serve 2 purposes. It will allow the boats, because this is really starting
Very
to
tight.
sit in here, it'll allow the boats better access to the back of the site. Those are the, right there. We can bring them over here.
So the same number of slips, just in a different...
Different location.
configuration.
That's right.
Number of slips, there'll be 2 additional boats will be able to fit in there. And I guess what Eric is proposing, we are available to 3 law enforcement agencies that have a presence on the river, choose to use.
Yeah, so-
Conservation agent,
I'm sorry?
or conservation agent.
One-
We're kind of an inverse, no, no.
Do you guys have that? We do now.
Here it goes again, Pat. Here we go again. So the mean,
Most people usually stay on the commission for a few years.
at least a year.
I think this is sunfish available.
So the mean water doesn't get any lower than 6 or 8 even here, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Right there is the mean low water line.
yeah,
And you can see the bend in the bridge, that's the support holding the bridge up, and there's one on the other side. So the distance, even with this coming out, is still about 130 feet of width going through the bridge. And then the last change is, we originally had 9 piles holding both sets of floats. And now, and then when we went through the process, we asked for 9 additional piles. And we were gonna put all of those 9 behind float layout B to help hold that. But again, Attorney Torello was making an error, agreed with them that of those 9 piles that they're going to, additional piles they're going to install, they want to put 5 of them out in front of float layout B, down near the ramp. Here they are here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're right here. They're called pivot piles. Right here, they're called pivot piles. So the larger boats will have a much easier time during the low tide getting in and out of their slips, because the current is pretty good here. So we're keeping the same number of piles, just relocating. And again, they're within the reconfiguration.
Have you discussed any of this with the harbor master in terms of the location of this dock and the location of the bridge, Kevin?
Yes.
I haven't. I know Eric's been talking to both harbor masters.
We've had joint meetings with both harbor masters, talking about various things, and we've informed them of our intention to move the docks out.
Yeah.
That it's within the reconfiguration zone, and it was discussed that since it's in the reconfiguration zone originally, before the Army Corps and Chapter 91 signs off on it, it goes to the harbor masters.
yeah, they're part of the.
And they're part of the, so they wouldn't, so it's kind of like a sandbox, as long as you stay within the sandbox. So they approved the original sandbox, that where we're doing this, because they both have interest, Marshfield and Scituate, are keeping one of their patrol boats from each of the towns right there, so that they have better access to the river. And middle of the night, they have to fly down there and jump on the boat. It's right there at the dock, they can take off, so they're anxious, or I shouldn't say anxious, interested in having boats there, so.
Yeah, it's really not, I mean,
Yeah.
that part of it's really not, our purview is more any environmental impact that the work would have.
Oh, okay, right.
But we typically kind of bounce
Work
off
with
the
them, sure.
the harbor master and whatnot, just to make sure that things don't get obstructed or
Of
whatever.
course.
The bridge opening that's shown in this plan, Kevin, is that the new bridge?
Yes, oh, yes, yes, yeah.
And
You can see both fence.
Yeah.
The supports,
Yep.
they're shown on the plan.
Yep.
it's important to note, I don't know if you can really see it here, but there's sort of riprap around
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah.
This does not go beyond the plane of that riprap. That was an important point that came up that, I just put it out there, that there was questions about that, and that was examined, and it was.
I know it well.
Yeah.
Again, we have North River Commission's approval. We'll leave that with you,
Great.
with Carol.
Okay. Yeah, Penny, do you have
No, I
anything
have no question.
else, Phil? Lisa? Richard?
You got a busy time ahead of you.
We do, and it's tough to get the people lined up to do the work, so,
Staging's the tricky part.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
In
especially.
the timeframe.
And the time frame. Well, there was some marinas that were lost up in Weymouth and such, and boats, and, $20 million worth of damage, so they're not opening this season. So that's put a lot of
Pressure for you to get yours open.
pressure to get open, right, as soon as possible.
Do you have any?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we can call this a request to review a revised plan, and then we would need to send it in to DEP, but it would be part of the order of conditions that's already approved.
Right.
It's ongoing maintenance. And then the other stuff is Chapter 91, so where you put it isn't as important as to what you're doing on the shore. So we'll just send it in to DEP as a plan and continue the order. So.
Maybe we can ask you a couple of things.
It's a modification to the order of conditions. I think it's condition 13 that allows us to modify the order, because it's still open because the dredging was.
And these things are in movement all the time. I mean, the river moves things around. We had the Scituate Yacht Club in a couple of years ago for some issues, and we're sort of the custodians of the spit. And we really worked out some good cooperation between the yacht club and the commission on trying to make people more aware of environmental issues that go on the spit. A lot of people that use this marina and Mary's.
Sure, no doubt.
Their destination is the spit,
the spit.
whether it's a small vehicle, a small boat or a large boat or whatever. They were willing to allow some signage and things to be placed where people
See 'em.
get onto the boat or go to the dock. There's the plover,
Yeah.
when they're nesting, I know that there's different thoughts about that.
No, but awareness, we gotta make it, yeah.
Right. What we're really hopeful is that we can make people aware of
Sure.
that. And the place where they're most likely to see that
Yeah.
is either here or at Mary's or people leaving Scituate Harbor.
Sure.
Are the, places where people, there's also boats that come from wherever, but
Yeah.
what we can do is try to affect the ones that
We can, yeah.
are around. I don't know whether you still rent boats out of the other place,
Yeah.
but anything we can do to get people to be aware of how sensitive that estuary is, both up and down the river.
Yep.
Would be extremely helpful.
Sure.
And you have an excellent access point
Sure.
for most people that are doing that.
Listen, we'd love to help with that. If you have any specific information you'd like, we can make the copies too. It's not a big deal. Just give us, the example.
Well, maybe what we'll do is we'll try to get together some of the signage that we have, and if you
Perfect.
have a way to post it
Yeah,
as
I do.
well, to
We do.
make people aware, like when the plovers are nesting and to be aware of those sort of things, and just anything to encourage it. Obviously, you're doing stuff with pump outs and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, we're just doing anything we can to keep the
Sure.
river
Clean.
clean, and it already seems
Yeah.
like you've gone a long way on the other side of the river,
Yeah.
which we appreciate.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
Eric.
So, yeah, I mean, whatever you guys want to do in terms of signage, we've got the space for it. I like the conservation as well. It's, we're kind of the stewards and the guardians of the river as well, because we're there every day, so we can make sure stuff happens the right way and not the wrong way.
We want people to enjoy it,
Yeah.
but there's, we have erosion on the banks, all
Sure.
those sort of things, those are
Sure.
important to us. And
Yep.
so, boat speed, all that sort of stuff is what we're concerned about. And,
Uh-huh.
and I think everybody would
Yeah, we had
appreciate
to.
that at the same time,
Sure.
so.
Well, we are as well, and just to give you an update on that, then, we've been talking with both harbor masters about getting better signage. So we'd like to put, sort of when you go under the bridge is no man's land, and on our side, we can be saying, hey, come on, slow down, or making an announcement, asking people to slow down. We've got cameras so that if there are extreme cases where it requires, law enforcement to get involved, which, believe it or not, it's happened a couple of times.
Yeah.
We've got the camera. And they
Well, if
say-
you have all these boats moored and somebody's ripping through there making a big wake.
Yeah, it's
certainly-
dangerous, too. It's dangerous. Aside from the environment, it's an acute situation of danger if the boats are banging on the dock, et cetera. So, they're gonna work to help us get a sign, kind of like, when you go into Scituate Harbor, you come past the
No wakes
breakwater.
and all that
Right.
sort of thing, or,
But a more formal one. We have these ones, at the end of the day, they kind of look like homeowner versions of no wake signs. They're buoys that the harbor masters both said we could put in. We bought them ourselves. They say no wake. It's a little thing like this, but people just like run them over, or it's like kind of a joke. Whereas you come through Scituate Harbor and you see that big sign, it's like, you got the right to remain
better
silent if
slow
you're
down.
speeding. And people say, well, that's a little, you can't say you didn't see that. You didn't see that sign when you came into the harbor, that huge
Right.
sign?
That'd be great.
So we plan on doing that for speed and erosion and for, just to keep everybody safe as well. Oops.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that, and that's the kind of cooperation we'd like to have.
Oh, no, I love it, I love it, I love it. Any signage, it's good to talk about. In fact, with our rental boats, we can even have a little brochure that goes with it, so that, maybe somebody who lives in Scituate knows about it, but you might have somebody that comes to the Spit for the day, and they go out and they don't know, and
Right.
Yeah.
so, it's particularly if they have a dog or something like that.
Yep.
We make them aware of it and put it as part of the contract even, so it's,
Great.
I like that, thank you.
Appreciate it.
If they ask you to sponsor the bocce tournament out on the Spit, don't do it.
You guys,
Discourage the bocce.
you guys don't like the bocce tournament?
That didn't work too good.
Not with 1,000 teams or
Oh,
whatever.
boy.
Still-
We want everybody to have fun.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
just want to protect it at the same time.
And I don't know if you guys know, I don't want to take up your night here, but there's one more point I want to make, sorry. We're sort of the center point for if there's a disaster on the river, an oil spill or something like that. We've had training, we've had about 100 different law enforcement, federal, state, county, and last year we did a drill where a boom was deployed across the river. And we've got posts identified where that boom will go. We know where the emergency truck, there's like these vans that they just, these trailers they distributed across the state in key spots that have pumps, that have booms, that have oil absorption stuff. Everybody knows where they park at my place when they come, if there's a spill. Everybody knows what to do. It was a really rehearsed thing. They used oranges as the oil to see how well they could contain the oranges. And it worked great, and there was a lot of great press over it. So we were very proud of it, and because if something happened, well, the tide's on its way in, the oil's coming.
Right.
If we boom it right there, we've got 2 secure spots. Now, I control, both marinas now, so we have the spots to put them, and we know how to do it, so I don't want to take up your time, but
No, I
that's a
appreciate it.
huge...
Very nice.
It's a huge conservation thing, because if that ever happened,
Right.
it takes one of those to make
Oh, that
our lives
Go, go.
miserable
Sure.
for, our grandkids.
Yeah.
So anyways, sorry to take your time.
Oh, appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
So are we voting this?
I don't think we have to vote it.
No, we
Was
can
it
revise the
voted?
plan and we'll send it in.
Right, yeah, and,
We're
We
good.
can vote to certainly endorse that.
yeah,
if
that,
we want.
they have a approval.
I make a
and-
motion that we endorse the changes in their plans.
Second?
All in favor?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good one.
Ask a question, and I don't know if Carol's throwing something at me, but are you will something be written up that said that you reviewed it and it's okay?
Duck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question is, when might that happen, because our next step is DEP and the Army Corps, and I'd like to have those things when we go to them. 'cause
Just
I
don't
know-
let it get back on Pat's desk.
That's, yeah.
He's
Kevin's
had
been in
time.
there. He knows what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Good
Thanks
point,
a lot.
Kevin.
Good luck,
Email
Gary.
Friday morning.
Thanks.
Friday morning?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here
you're not
Friday.
Fridays.
What?
Oh, that's everybody.
I'm here 9 to 5 usually.
Carefully.
I guess.
But the door shuts, they lock the door, yeah.
Low tide.
Mid to, mid to low, because if it's too low, then you hit the.
Yeah, just remind me of that.
Yeah.
But
It really does fit under the bridge?
It does fit, oh, yeah.
45 emails.
Yeah, walk in the door, yeah.
I know.
At noon, I came in there with 20. But I mean, this, yeah, if you have to bring.
That was pretty stupid. It really was.
Just help.
Yeah, especially North River Commission too. Yeah.
So we'll bring it down this way. I have a thing up on top that I can bend over, so that if you drop down.
Ah, there you go. See, it is like a bottle.
It's my boat. So it's,
But do you take it up?
well, I work 120 hours a week in the summer, so I'm hoping to get to the point where we have all these things under control and I can take some time out.
Just let me know, I'll come.
Bill and Bill are going together.
We'll bring you some cocktails.
You
can
When's the restaurant opening?
We can do a cruise by the spit and look
You're all
at
alone
the
now.
birds.
I'm happy, there you go.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
That's what we're looking at
Thank you,
first.
guys.
You're saving the birds. She's
All I
having
was
cocktails.
concerned about was the.
Right.
The champagne.
Thank you.
Man, oh man.
Backfired.
Okay, so
Where are we
now
at?
where are we?
Well, we have a Hummerock resident who may be interested in just the Hummerock summary of where we are.
She had lots to
So,
say, too.
On the cleanup project, so we had the hearing and we continued it to May, I think it's 6th. And in the meantime, we met with Rebecca and some of the DEP and the other people. Tricia wants to have them come out again and do a training for the residents out there. Just, here's what the state is saying about the coastal, movement of sand. Here's what the regulations are saying. There are a lot of people that have different ideas about what's going on. So she wants to try to do something sooner rather than later. So sometime in April, maybe April or early May. That's the next step, and then the hearing will continue on after that. But in the
Conduct a forum on just what can and can't be done.
right, yeah, and just to answer questions too. Get the state people in here because sometimes I think they want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. As far as the cleanup is going on, there was a lot of people hiring their own people lately. So we had, I think we probably gave out 25 minor activity permits. A lot of them to Cobra and a lot of them to Mike Viviano. And pretty much the same thing. We look at it on GIS, and if there's a way we can recommend that they move the sand. I heard today there was one that may not have been done well, but, we have several people now calling us and saying, here's what I'd like to do, is it allowed? And we're doing it under minor activities. So, and I guess a lot of the sand that got put by the town up at the last lot there, a lot of that is washing down, and there's a berm that's created right near. So. But you guys saw one today that may have removed some vegetation.
Yeah, in fact, that's why I honestly thought Rosemary would say something about it, but maybe not. Yeah, Browns.
Okay, what's around 120?
20, right next to you.
126.
126, what do you think they removed?
They doubled the size of the driveway and took all the stuff out.
He pushed stairs. I honestly haven't been around and paying attention, but from what it looked like, first of all, our dune is the same. The grass is just totally flattened in one spot.
Right.
He pushed a set of stairs that washed in off to the side.
Right.
and-
No, it's not that side, Rosemary, it's the driveway that has been totally doubled in size.
It's been a huge one for a long time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. to be
Okay.
honest.
Well, I honestly thought that, but at any rate, they had,
Yeah.
Biagini had two vehicles out there today. And
Okay, yeah, he was working under Mike Viviano, so I don't remember this house number, but.
126 would it be?
We can check. We can check.
And maybe they do have a permit, I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much it was, don't touch vegetation, don't impact the neighbor, and if you have to go out onto the beach, let us know. A lot of them, they come up in between, they can dump it over, but, so. A lot of people are coming down this weekend to do it too, so.
Rosemary?
Any other?
Training, could it be after people have come back?
Well, you know, I think she didn't want to lose the momentum. I think she wanted to get them out here sooner and maybe before the decisions are made about what DPW can do for storms. So it may be that this is the first of more than one meeting, but I think she didn't want to lose the interest that was there from the last two meetings. There's a lot of good questions, but there was a lot of misinformation too that, you know, so. And Rebecca's happy to come out. She said, you know, she's been coming out here for 20 years, and if people want to come and ask questions and hear what they have to say. They have an erosion control, coastal erosion committee, and they have a report coming out, and they have a lot of good recommendations that they didn't used to have about beach nourishment and stuff, and it sounded like they realized how bad things are, and it's a little bit more flexible. So.
Is Nancy up on all this stuff?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, we both went to they had public hearings, they had a draft report, it's about 100 pages long. We sent it out, but it's a long report. You may not have read it, Bill, but, yeah, so.
Every word.
Yeah.
Every pearl of wisdom.
Yeah. So, and they were asking for comments from the town. We're getting our comments in this week. They're taking comments till April 7th. So Nancy and I will be sending in comments, too. But,
Okay.
I do have a question, and I have to agree with Rosemary. If you have 50% of the population not in attendance, you're going to have 50% of people giving direction to someone else that will not mirror the purpose of this educational thing.
right. I think we can get them back. I mean, if it
think
goes
you oughta
well,
plan
then we
two.
have them a second time, but I think, also, you have the people that are year-rounders that have different issues. They're going through the storms. You know, a lot of the summer people get down here in June or whatever, or May, and they do need to know the rules, but, you know, people who live here really have to know how to survive the
It's
storms.
impacted, yep.
Yeah. So I agree, though. I think we really want some people to get the same message so that you guys aren't the ones that are, you know,
Yeah.
running around telling people.
But unless there's some fluke April 1st storm, there's a probably good chance nothing's going to be rolling into the street.
You know what we find, though?
What do you find?
Is that the people that are made to follow the rules tend to call the town hall when other people that aren't following the rules.
Right, that's,
So once we get enough people that are made to follow the rules, they tend to feel slighted if someone else isn't, and then we know about it a lot sooner.
Which is good.
So can we get a recap of everything that's going to be said so we can post it at the post office? Because that's
right, to get some interest going, yeah.
well, it's also, you know, if you put up enough copies, people can take them. And for the people that don't have the benefit of this meeting, as far as trying to keep the lines of communication open, do you think that would be helpful?
Well, but if
We gotta hit all
Pat is
those.
saying,
Yeah,
Rebecca might do it again.
We gotta get
Some
going.
people
Yeah.
either
Yeah,
works, too.
I think we might need 2 meetings.
Yeah.
One in the spring and
Right.
one in the,
You can all do an email
Yeah,
blast,
June or
too.
July or something,
Put it
yeah.
out through some of the,
They didn't get those when they sent out the reverse sign ones.
that was a phone call, not an email.
Oh, all right.
Get your digital confused.
I just heard that a lot of people didn't get the message.
Yeah, we
No.
did hear that at the meeting, so.
Okay,
right.
good.
So, yeah,
So it's
so,
all positive.
yeah, and Jim Hollow will come out with her, and it's gonna be an evening meeting. A lot of
Really?
times you can't get state people to come out during the day.
They're willing to come to
Yeah.
those? Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
Is there a way to get some kind of signage in the paper streets that Landers have cleaned out to prevent people for when they come back, they start dumping and filling in the paper streets again? I mean, right now, there's actually 2 of them that will be able to be serviceable for draining. But if people fill them back up again,
right, right.
if you could just take put a
Right.
sign in between them, do not dump here.
Right. And it's an obvious spot to dump it to, I know what you're saying.
Well, it's convenient.
Right, right,
We gotta get,
okay.
We're going-
The Peggotty
Fine.
thing, it's just a quick one on Peggotty. All the sand has been moved from the marsh side of the properties by the residents around, out across the beach and in front of the homes. And it's like 6 homes have the sand in front of them. So Public Works was able to put in for some FEMA money, because we do own the beach, to get $5,000 toward either fencing or beach grass. So Kevin put in for that, and then the selectmen had some concerns about the height of it and the location of it, so they're still trying to work that out, but it might be that within the next couple of weeks, some fencing is put up and some beach grass is planted.
Great,
So, that's Peggotty. A lot of calls from Peggotty.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, but some of that'll all smooth out by the time
Yeah,
we get to that. I mean, it's gonna change a little bit with
yeah,
the
yeah, right, right,
tides and,
yeah.
but they probably do need to push it back and maybe shape it a little bit. more.
Right, and when we do the order of conditions for this, we really are gonna have to
Is
lay
somebody
out
gonna refile for
everything.
that?
I think Stan is hoping it can be done under a continuation, like an extended,
Amendment or
but it would,
something?
yeah, it would have to, a minimum of amendment, because you need to notify butters and
Right.
everything, so.
Okay.
But instead of shooting for the May 15th date, we said, let's get this, season started, get the stuff planted, get the fencing, and then we can worry about it from here on out.
Okay.
There's a couple of sites we wanted to set up the site visits. Now the snow has melted, so we talked about going out to 158 Border, to Ingrid Lane. Those are the two main
Yeah.
ones. So
Did
if,
we, speaking of Ingrid Lane, did you ever find, or did you ever get back to them looking for that plan that we had requested? Did you ever find that in the minutes? That we,
When we requested it,
yeah.
eh,
Did I send you a minute?
Did I?
yeah, and that would have been about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, maybe?
I don't think so. I think, I don't remember.
I wasn't,
I found something.
I wasn't on, so
It
it has
was-
to be over a
oh.
year and a half, because I wasn't on.
yeah.
I would swear that we requested them to give us
I was,
We did.
a drawing showing us the existing piles and the
Mhm.
proximity to the wetlands.
We have something, it's a little bit
That
older.
one's not the one.
Okay.
That was before, so,
Uh, Yeah, we can check for that, but if,
but certainly we can go out there and
Right.
take a look.
Yeah.
But the problem that we had was, it's very difficult to see, if we want to go out there and the owner wants to be there and they can show us where the flags are. But-
yeah, it would be with Leo or whoever, but,
Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna call him and get some times. What times are better for you guys? Afternoon or after 5?
It doesn't matter.
Morning.
Or morning?
Mornings aren't good for,
No, they're not bad for me. What time in the morning? Yeah. No.
8:30.
8:30's bad. Although tomorrow I better be here at 8:30. Because I'll give him a call tomorrow.
I can't help you the next 2 weeks, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You're real sorry, I can tell.
I told you, I'm gonna call you from Kauai,
Oh,
next meeting.
okay. Very nice there.
And we'll think of you.
So, next week sometime, maybe?
Yep.
Okay. 6 Emerson, that was the one that a few of us went to. Paul was out there, Paul, Lisa, and I. And
Emerson?
it's out on Hummerock on the riverside.
Yeah, it is.
And
No, I wasn't with you, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, this is, on the riverside, there's a concrete wall, there's another property line that meets there. This guy had some collapsing piers right in the area along the edge of the lawn, and he's getting erosion and all that kind of stuff. So they contacted us, I said, that's what we're trying to encourage, and he said, notice of intent or an RDA, and I'm thinking maybe an RDA.
Is it
Depending on what he
replacing?
wants to do, I mean, it's gonna be
it's gonna be in the same footprint and et
Yeah.
cetera? Yeah.
same footprint.
Yeah, just replacing the,
Whoa.
And it's probably about 3 or 4, some type of pier.
Some
But
people
they're
don't
not
put them in the
concrete.
same
You
footprint.
wanna put wooden ones and just keep the
if they
lawn
didn't,
flats.
the wall wouldn't work,
Yeah, it looks
because
like it's
there's on
gonna
either
collapse.
side.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh.
Work on another one.
Oh, I-
Where it was
got-
not replaced.
I know where it is.
So it
I
is,
wasn't with you,
yes.
but I know exactly where I've been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the other one we did the same day was Irving. And this was the one that he had already gone through, we redid the house, redid the porch, everything came out good. The wall right along the property line, it's all rotted out, the fence fell down, and he wanted to replace it, same footprint. And he didn't have specifications on the material. It was you, Paul, and I that went there, right? Irving, the big long fence that was falling down. So he wants to replace that too, so. you know what this is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's on the edge of his lawn.
Yep.
You know, prevents stuff from washing.
So he's just gonna tell you what he's gonna,
Yeah, I mean, it.
Okay.
Really isn't a big deal.
Yep.
Right, right.
Cool.
As long as it's no higher, no closer to
Yep.
the river, okay, so.
Yep.
And not on somebody else.
Yes.
But
right.
we can't say.
What's that?
No.
Oh.
What else?
enforcement.
River Street, these guys were down on River Street.
Yeah, that's an issue.
What,
Yeah.
140?
No, River Street at
No.
the end, right where it starts, the pavement ends and it turns into Old Mouth.
Yeah, well,
We,
then-
remember we had a guy here last
Where that
fall
is.
Yeah.
that was
Way
telling
on the
us,
end of Humrock.
I sent
Yeah,
you all, I
south
sent
end.
you all pictures.
the other end of Humrock, it's eroded so far
Oh,
away.
yeah, I remember this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
actually, Lisa and I were there today, she took a picture, and it's actually scouring out under the current pavement.
Oh, good.
No, that's not good.
No, I'm being
Yeah,
sarcastic.
it's
Oh,
not
wow.
good. You got they got a real issue there.
Water pipe exposed, and we don't know.
Did a nice job.
It's like 6 feet
We have.
has fallen in,
So who do we,
so,
should this go to DPW?
Well, I would think.
Right here.
But it's also, the town, I think it's the
This is
town,
a
has dumped a lot of
water
stuff
pipe?
Why are you
there.
showing this to you?
Well, I took the pictures.
Yeah, Richard's in the pictures for these.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get out of them, and she just kept chasing me.
So,
Lisa,
Out of control.
so,
You shouldn't put us together, that's what.
Your wife's not watching this.
She knows. She says, go for it.
Business dinner.
All right,
Better I bother you than my husband.
Okay.
let's keep rolling.
so the issue, yeah, let's get that.
No,
The
that's
issue
all right.
on this one is, Public Works consider it a private road, and there's a group down there that has a betterment, and they take care of the plowing, but this could become a public safety thing, so, and it could
Yeah,
cause
but-
problems in the river.
River Street is a public road, is it not?
Till the paved part, and then.
This is the paved part.
Yeah, this is right
This is
before it
at the paved
crosses
part. It's right
over.
near it, but it's paved.
Okay.
So,
This post is pretty much where it's it's no longer public and it becomes private. So everything that we shot, I mean, this from here to here is 6 feet has fallen in. I
So-
stepped there and it caved in and
so what are we,
Yeah.
what is, what is
Their
our
car.
involvement?
Yeah, I think contacting Public Works or the police, they said a car went off there into the river or whatever. It may be that it could be a guardrail issue, a safety issue, so the police should know.
There's no
Public Works, if Public Works has a public road piece of it, maybe they need to fix it. The private piece might be the private, homeowners, but if they want to do something and they want to come to us, we could make some recommendations as to what they could do there. They could put those, core bags or something like that to try to support.
What are they
the-
gonna need to file I mean, is somebody gonna have to file
Yeah,
something?
Yeah,
Whether
right,
it's,
right, whether it's Public Works or them.
Determine who it
Right.
is, yeah.
But it's too bad, you would think that the town was responsible for the paved roads at that end, but,
And it is a
Isn't paved
danger.
after this, though.
right, I guess this is right
I
about,
don't really wanna,
is
I
paved.
just don't wanna debate that, I wanna
Yeah,
know
which other thing?
Right.
who do we
right, and we'll just have them file either one. Yeah,
condition or whatever.
right. But this came in as a call, and these guys took
It's
pictures
just
today,
like the
so.
other night with groups, with Humrock, obviously people wanna bring
Yeah.
up their concerns, but really our purview is how do we,
Right, right,
whether we need siltation.
right,
What is the construction that they're gonna do? Does
Right.
it meet the design criteria for that area? That should be our purview,
right.
not be the sounding board as to
Right.
whether the town's,
And if people don't get somewhere with one department, they say, I bet I can tie this into conservation too,
Right.
and that's, in this case, it's erosion into the river, so.
So, like, as far as the water, though, I think it would be nice to know if this is an active water pipe or
Going into the river.
not. Because it's exposed. It's like right here.
maybe
it's
it's
the
the
gas
gas
line.
line.
Because there's a water, it looks like there's a water shut off here, and then there's a yellow, ha, thing that, at first glance, I said, is that a fire hydrant? And then I was like, oh, that was a dumb thing. He's like, no. But it was this yellow thing above this top. So, I mean, I think the water department at least should verify or confirm,
Okay,
because there's all kinds of tape patches on it.
I got their phone number in there.
Do you?
Go-
Could you
go
quick dial
talk
them
about
now?
Fallen tomorrow.
Next.
All right, so I'll follow up with Public Works. How about 24 Webster? This was one of the houses that had burned down out on Hummerock.
Yeah.
And they're looking to get a certificate of compliance. And our conditions, we had a couple of conditions in there. One is if they were going to put in a new septic system, they couldn't repave with asphalt. They would have to do
Yeah.
pavers.
Yeah.
But it turns out they did not put in a septic system.
Doesn't look that way.
Right.
That, the pavement that was there is still there. There's no more.
Yeah, so the cesspool's under there somewhere, but that's not our issue. But now the house is on pilings.
It is.
And there was a big cellar hole foundation, and we said, the water comes off the shore and down into there, it's gonna scour and cause trouble, so they were gonna
That's
put a
filled
lot
in.
of
It's
sand.
all filled in
So
pretty
that's filled
nicely.
in.
There's no
Okay.
plantings, though.
Okay.
No
So it's-
plantings, and remember the retaining wall that they
Yeah.
wanted to
Yes.
keep? It's caving in.
Oh,
See, I knew that was gonna happen.
if you're,
The
if you're.
south side.
Okay, south side.
And the north side,
Actually, you're, and on the
It's-
ocean side too, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty much three-sided, and then the patio they had under.
You
the-
did say that at the
under
time,
Under
Penny.
the stairs is eroding because it just scours. When the water comes over,
So
it
the
just
one that's,
scours underneath it.
comes off the seawall,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a,
And there's a
okay.
patio, and then there's stairs that lead up to the
Scour.
house, but it's scoured underneath it, and so that's all falling
Yeah.
in.
I can understand why they wanted to keep the wall, but in the long run, I don't think it's gonna work.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Because there's nothing
Okay.
there.
So
But
they've
there's
done
no-
with the.
I don't
with-
think they're quite ready to be get a CFC.
All right, so, but it's more the planting issue than, okay, all right,
The other stuff looks pretty good. There is a bunch, I would ask them to clean it up a little bit, though.
okay, yeah, all right. All right, thank you for going out there.
So has somebody signed off that the septic works?
It was done about 5 years ago, no, 2005 was the last report they had at Board of Health.
So it was only
And,
10 years ago.
yeah, so
They probably didn't have to
Yeah, but
do
it's a
it.
much bigger house
Well,
now.
no, I was just
That's
inquiring
the,
because.
that's what I brought up too. If
they-
there were
if they
additional
were to do
bedrooms,
a new
it might be.
septic, Then they couldn't
Oh.
repave again.
That's right.
That house is
That's
double
why
the
they
size it
decided
was.
Ah.
They didn't have to.
Beautiful house.
Maybe that's,
They
maybe,
haven't moved in.
Okay.
maybe
all
that's
right.
why they,
Well,
oh, they haven't moved in
I
yet.
had
No, it's still
number
empty.
38.
But the
Okay.
Board
Maybe
of Health
that's
had
why
to
they
do
didn't wanna
Yeah, well,
For a CO.
put in a septic, because it would've had to been a giant one, you
Yeah,
know?
for a CO.
I didn't know
That
if there was
house
a
is
problem
at
with the
least double the
septic,
size
whether
it
it
was.
was something they were gonna
Okay.
repair or
I
have to
will
replace.
talk
That's
with,
why I was asking if the Board of Health
Jen
had
on
signed
that.
off
no,
on.
they just
Okay.
studied when all this work was being
I
done.
don't know how many
Maybe
rooms are
we do
bedrooms, but it's
that,
huge.
too.
Yeah.
Three
It's
stories.
like the
3
one,
stories.
it's like the one two down from there,
Yes,
3 down, yeah.
yes.
That's what they modeled it after.
Yes.
Hey, they get away with,
It's a beautiful house.
yeah.
That's a huge
Yeah, you-
house.
Beautiful house.
It's much
Some,
bigger.
that's 2 years they haven't
Yeah.
been in there.
I remember he wanted to be
You know-
in 2 summers
You
ago.
know what? We
Yeah.
got a whole bunch of stuff to get done, and it's after 8
Yeah.
o'clock. So let's-
Yeah, well, they're on the phone.
64 Moreland.
Yeah,
This was a, they had to do a planting plan, they're right up against the marsh, and somebody said that the plantings that they proposed wouldn't work there because, let me think.
somebody being their consultant, or?
Yeah,
What's the,
this was,
the one on the hill?
No,
yes, next to that.
64 Moreland.
Oh,
Is
the,
on Third
the one
Cliff.
to the left of that. Oh,
Almost
okay.
adjacent to
Yeah.
Fourth Cliff, there's just a river in the middle.
Oh, yeah, you can swim across.
I know where it is.
This is a non.
Lots of plovers over there.
Yes,
Wow.
one of the cliffs.
so,
Okay, so they proposed one plan, they're coming in for a different plan.
I'm gonna plant it.
Yeah, our conditions, they want to order the plants, that's why they want it, they're not even coming for certificate of
You
compliance,
know,
they just want to order the plants.
We just want plants that are gonna grow. If they
Right.
say these are gonna grow, go
Right.
get
Well, I
them.
think we want to make sure that we get the right number of plants.
The right number,
substantial-
yes.
We agreed to some decent plantings here.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something with trees, though?
They took
Yeah, that
down
was
3
the
or 4
condition.
big,
20 of those circles on there.
Yeah.
And this is what Kennedy was saying, I think it was Kennedy was saying, that the trees won't work in the place where they propose, because it's a slope and it's going into the marsh. So anyways,
what were the trees that were there?
You know, some choke cherries and stuff that were there before, which weren't great.
But they,
the proposed one, the reference
Who
plan.
did the,
Kennedy's?
no, who did the original?
should be there.
Kennedy's Country Gardens sent in this one.
September
Right,
of
but- yeah,
2014.
Yeah, but that's by a landscaper. This one was by ECR,
Brad Holmes.
by Brad Holmes.
Yeah.
So,
Here's a picture of what was there before.
Why is it that Brad would think something would, I mean, he's a wetlands
Right.
person. If he says something will work there, are they just going for more decorative? Do we have an issue here? We might. What are they?
This is a year and a half after that one.
But what are they
so they're
proposing?
proposing winterberry, highbush blueberry, northern bayberry.
Oh, those are,
Those are pretty good, usually.
those are all right.
Yeah.
He had-
They're not-
Yeah, wait
He
a
had
shade trees.
a high-tide bush, switchgrass, and seaside goldenrod were some of his.
Oh,
they
these would
grow.
be, these would be much prettier than what's described over there.
Yeah.
Do these like wet feet?
None of these are
Yeah.
trees.
Right.
Not salt, though, I didn't think. I mean, some of them wouldn't. Because you may get salt of it, well, maybe not. The elevation.
That's pretty high there, isn't it?
Why didn't they
But
have?
I think
those
we
in
added, no, Pat, you know what, Pat, on number 37, we added, this was a plan from him, but we, in addition to the proposed mitigation plan, we requested 6 trees with a minimum of 3.5-inch diameter to be put on this site.
Yeah.
So in addition to the mitigation plan, when these guys presented this, they basically had some of these smaller, there's 12 high tide bushes, whatever those are.
Got it.
Some switchgrass and some goldenrod. And then we said we wanted 6 trees because trees have been cut down.
So 6 more in addition to.
Right.
So,
Trees,
it's
not bushes.
Right.
So
So
they
they-
got plus
3
this.
inches.
That's correct.
And then they've come back with this, and this doesn't show trees. but
Right.
It might, it doesn't have the same vegetation.
Right.
either.
So this is,
we need
this
both.
is completely different.
I mean, I think what Brad had proposed was something was sort of compatible to the marsh.
Yeah,
And then we wanted some trees put back because they had cut trees down, if I.
Yes.
I think
they
that's
did.
correct.
That is right.
And so is Mr. Kennedy saying that the trees won't work?
Well, this is secondhand
Yeah,
from Ross Engineering.
okay.
So we could say, I mean, if we say we want to have some trees, then we could leave it up to maybe.
Well, we already did say it.
Right, but I mean, if we get back to them now and say, yeah, you gotta put
Follow
trees in.
yours.
Right, but is to the location, we'll leave that up to Kennedy,
Or just prior to them building it out, I mean, you guys can take a look.
well, we're not talking trees in the front yard, we're talking in
No,
the
no, I
backyard.
mean the back.
Well, give
Well,
us a
that-
plan. Show
Yeah.
us- They can submit a plan and say,
Add trees and those kind of plants to
Well,
this.
can't you just
Yeah.
take that plant and add the trees to it?
Yep,
That would be easier, because that's,
yep.
that's fine, but just, I mean, you take a look, I don't know plants.
Yeah, I mean, those are a more wild type of plant on the
Right,
edge of a
and that was
mountain.
the idea
Well, it's
that
a
we're.
marsh.
Right,
Yeah.
and then these are plants that we do recommend from
marsh,
time to time, so
all,
that's what
all.
If they wanna mix some
re-
stuff, but-
Regular freshwater,
trees.
or is there a
It's
mixture of
brackish.
salt?
Brackish.
It's brackish.
Right.
So there's a good chance that these wouldn't make it.
We've had trouble with blueberries in salt water. Another site
Any
deal.
blueberries I've ever planted wouldn't like
Okay.
salt water.
All right,
Yeah.
I will
Brackish.
get back to, they're
Like-
doing this because they're getting ready to order plants this time of year, so they
Yeah.
want to put on fire.
that's good, but they
Well,
forgot
we're
the
not
trees.
happy.
And some of the other.
Can we
stuff.
put, like, get a list typed up?
I thought we did that.
It might be helpful. We had talked about this. You know, here's, column A, these would be in brackish water, you know,
We've
full
got it.
solid less.
You know what?
We've got
We
that.
have
But
it
they have,
someplace.
but they have consultants that have done this work, and they had a guy that did this, that knows what he should plant there.
Okay.
That's the original guy. He is a wetland
So,
guy.
okay, so they should go back to him and say,
That's right.
recommend the
Find it-
trees.
find a tree
And then
that
pla-
works.
plop them on the
Yes.
2013
But then
plan.
they went to a landscape place. And they're
Okay.
looking for pretty.
Well,
Well,
that's-
I mean, if there's a mix that
If-
works.
if
but
it's
we-
gonna work,
but
yeah.
We have a set of orders, and we also wanted trees for a reason.
That's right. They cut them down.
Okay,
And those are bushes.
we went out to Kavanaugh today, And this is off of Indian Trail. It's that new house that has
Hubble.
really no backyard. And it's, the house is right up against.
One on the corner, Frank, where Sion took that lot when they sold us the Hubble.
Oh,
lot.
sure.
Yeah. Big house.
They got a lot.
And before they come in for certificate of compliance, Morse Engineering, who wasn't the original engineer, wanted to know if they're ready for a certificate, and they're really not. There's a lot of things done differently on this one, so.
Was it
Or
over
they
there,
haven't been
Spath?
done.
It originally was at Spath, I think it was.
Yeah, I
Can I
think
see a
it was.
picture of the house, just so I can?
Oh, no, Grady. Grady was the original.
Right. But I think the owner of the house now,
Sion is in,
Sion, we conditioned the lot for Sion.
yes.
And then
Then it
he
was
sold
sold.
it. Oh, that's right, that's
Yeah,
right, it was
this is
Spath.
right on the corner.
Yeah, it's right
Yeah.
on the corner, yeah.
But some of the changes are pretty big. I mean, it looked like it called for a cantilever deck, 10 by 16.
Huge.
The deck is probably 23 by 16, it's not cantilevered, but it says cantilever, but.
But
it's
then it
also
shows
showing
footing.
posts.
I know,
Yeah.
that's what was
Right.
confusing, Frank.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I think there is a cantilevering that happens beyond the posts.
Is an overhang there.
Right.
Oh, okay, and they're
So that-
calling that a
that-
cantilever?
right.
Oh, okay, we were thinking.
Cantilevered off the house
yes.
altogether,
Oh,
no.
okay,
No.
okay.
It just
Well, then
means that
that's
the
okay.
deck extends beyond those footings a
Okay,
few more feet, so that's
Because
cantilevered.
the
Okay.
50-foot goes right to the back of the house.
Yep.
the plantings,
There's
you have a
none.
planting plan, I think.
Right here.
Okay. There's 4 plants there and no plants anywhere else.
So they gotta go back to the,
Right, right.
And they're supposed to put up a post and rail fence,
A pen-
because
Yeah.
there's a drop off there.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And I guess they were allowed to bring those boulders in, they have boulders,
No,
That the-
that's ledge.
oh, it looked like big boulders on the edge of the lawn. The lawn goes over
Oh,
this
I
way.
see what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
there's a drop off. but
Yes.
it's- The septic is here,
Mhm.
and then there was an original plan that had rain gardens, but I think that came out because the septic wouldn't go where the rain gardens were.
I don't remember that.
You can't remember from 4 years ago?
The boulders are kind of like holding the land together there.
Well, they call it a retaining wall?
Yeah. It's not fresh.
So Penny, how many line items in the
Matter.
orders
Yeah.
are they missing?
Yeah, except the only
Right.
thing.
All the
The
plantings.
only other thing
all
was the
the
stormwater
fence.
thing, I noticed.
Oh, there's 2
Basins
pipes.
proposed out here.
Right.
That might have come off because this is the reference plan is,
Is underneath that one?
yeah, that's the reference plan. So maybe the gardens were proposed initially and then came off because.
Were they supposed to be for handling any of the surface water from the house, Pat?
There's no subsurface treatment on the water. The roof water goes straight out into the back. I can't-
They have 2 pipes, Frank, going, shooting right to
No,
the
but
west.
was that what the rain
I don't
garden?
know. They were over here though. There was one
How
there.
did they get taken out?
I don't know.
I mean, we didn't approve them being removed.
Well, there
right?
might have been back for an amendment.
Okay.
It seems to me like
Okay.
there might have been an amendment.
Okay.
All right,
But I think he's gotta get,
right up all the things that are missing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or tell them to go back and take another swipe at it and
Yeah.
get more
And-
compliant.
Yeah, and Jeff didn't even submit, he knew that this
Right.
wasn't gonna fly.
Now, they
so.
need to be told that they're not nearly
Right.
compliant at this
And a
stage.
big, I mean, a deck that's a lot bigger.
That's a
Well,
sensitive
that's
spot.
building.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did building sign off on it? Don't they have to sign off on it?
They don't care what we,
Oh, they have an occupancy
Yeah.
permit, people live
An
there.
occupancy permit isn't the same as a certificate of compliance.
Right,
Yeah.
but, I mean, if they had a plan for a 16-foot deck and they built a
Oh,
24-foot
no,
deck,
but-
would they get a,
well, what they submitted to them probably
CO.
would have been 24.
oh, I see what you mean. Oh, I see, I see,
It's much bigger.
I see.
So,
And
all right.
so based on our 36, no
So there's nothing
certificate
to
of
say
compliance
that-
will be completed.
Right.
And if they haven't done the plannings, they still have to wait the 2 years.
So the
Right.
same ones as they give the building
Yeah,
department.
Jeff, that's gonna be a problem.
Well, they're supposed to always.
Sure.
They're supposed to.
Yeah, right,
say,
yeah.
but
Nope.
All right.
What people.
Do we already discuss Irving
Yep.
Yep.
and Central Ave, so we're good. Next Thursday, the planning board's gonna have a hearing on a stone wall opening at Clap Road for the Crosby parcel, if anybody has any interest.
Next Thursday, Frank?
Yeah.
Interest, but I won't be here.
Eat Robin then.
What's that, the 9th?
The 9th, I think it's at like at 7:30.
Okay.
Did we ever work out anything with the dog officer, animal control officer?
Who's gonna
Are we
take
doing some
care of it?
signage, or are we not in that loop anymore?
Yeah, the last email had a lot of details in it. I sent it out to you. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was about.
She told us to hold off. She was gonna
Yes.
talk to somebody, blah, blah, blah. I think
Yeah.
they realized really the dogs are not our issue, it's
Right,
her issue.
right.
And she didn't want me to go to the Mariner and,
And they were talking about signage, and the Mariner is a good idea, and maybe we could do it together, but we'll hold off until we hear back from her.
well, we could also just ask the Mariner, Ruth, to do something on all the conservation areas.
Right.
That time of year is
I think it would
there.
be a good idea.
I do too, and people, let's be respectful, blah, blah,
Do we have
blah.
one of those bag dispensers there?
I'm not sure.
Somebody put a new one up at,
Yes.
maybe the dog folks did, put one up at Ellis.
Oh, yeah?
We didn't do it.
That would
And
seem
there's
like a
some-
logical.
You know, with it, walking the dogs
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
animal shelter, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
I saw one today for Old Fishing Line down at the dam.
Yep.
Down there.
Speaking of old fishing line, those photos you sent cracked me up.
Which ones?
The one with the pelican and the,
Oh.
and the
That's-
sea turtle is stuff that washed up. And I don't know, I've
Yeah.
never seen a
Oh.
pelican around here.
Yeah, unless that was some type of merganser or something, you know?
Pelican.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is a lot of trash that washed over.
Yeah, there is.
Um,
I know.
And I took a couple of shots, I'll send them to you.
Where's that?
The good news is that there's only one scoop of dirt that I saw get dumped on the marsh side.
Oh, yeah.
On the ocean side.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about my beach then.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you talking about?
Right along Ocean Side,
Oh,
between like 4th and 10th Ave.
I got you.
How did Egypt make out? Bad? Trash or?
Move on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the debris that
Yeah.
washed in is awful, but I don't know what the answer to that is. Hopefully, it's gonna be volunteers, because,
Well,
Right.
clean
Yeah.
up Ship State
Ship
Day.
Ship
Day,
Shape Day.
yeah.
That's, the whole neighborhood goes down.
but the amount of stuff, the big
Oh,
stuff that's
yeah.
out there is really sad.
Basketball nets and, you know,
I-
hoop things and everything.
Huge.
Are you
I
talking?
dragged a life raft
by
off the
the-
beach.
Oh,
down
really?
this,
Full-size
Oceanside, the Toll Brothers new
Like
property?
along the proving grounds.
Yeah, yeah.
But even all those marshes, keep going.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's-
This-
Down by Egypt
But,
Beach.
you know, a lot of times, if they put the stuff out, the town will pick it up. But once it starts to grow,
Yeah, but Penny, this stuff is buried in the marshes that run all along. This isn't like right along somebody's yard. Someone would have to do a lot of work to clean these, get back in these marshes and clean them out.
yeah.
And it'll all grow in soon too with
Yeah.
Phragmites
Once-
and everything.
yeah,
You
that
won't even
Phragmite
see
will be
it.
back
So,
in
so
a
what's your
month.
suggestion though?
I don't know. I just, Pat, it's
Yeah.
fired off a couple of things and.
Yeah, and residents were asking what's gonna happen. It's pretty much, if you can drag it out to the street corner, the town will get it. But if it's out in the marsh and you wanna get rid of it, you gotta get rid of it yourself, you know?
Right.
So,
Really?
yeah. I was asking about like propane tanks and things, you
Yeah.
know, things like that, seeing if it was a danger, but, didn't seem like police were that worried about it.
No.
Fire.
But there must be someone, I mean, that's not something you can put, you know, a person can pull out. You know, don't they have some kind of vehicle, some chain they could hook up to it
Yeah.
and pull it out of
And-
there,
and
so
maybe-
at least can be
And
picked
maybe
up?
they will get to it when they get some of these other things done, you know, when they, you know, the
We had a
road repairs now.
backhoe down there.
Yeah.
I think it was last year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
The neighborhood did, or?
No, the
Town?
Somebody to-
Oh, yeah.
no.
Isn't propane really flammable?
No, they were on the street.
I mean, they have to be done.
Ugh.
This is a lot of hand.
Find
work.
out, test it.
Boom.
There were two or three other quick ones.
Yeah.
All on Central Ave in Hummerock,
That's why you
where
tie everything down.
seawalls get knocked down or revetment get moved. And I met with, the local contractors down there, Jay Gary and Joe Scanzillo, and we went out and we walked these sites. He said, what are the rules on this? So they'd show me the situation, and there are no rules. There's one where the whole seawall got destroyed. The guy said, you know what, I don't have to do the seawall again and pour concrete. Can I build up revetment up high here instead of seawall? Can you put new hard engineering on a beach if it's replacing old hard engineering? So, it's a good question.
You're gonna file, right?
Yeah, they'd file, but I'd rather, if DEP's gonna say no, I'd rather let them know, like, don't even bother, or whatever,
Can you get some kind of feedback from them, from DEP on those?
Yeah, I told her I'd run it by you guys, and if we have any ideas, and,
I think if
Yeah.
DEP can give us some guidelines on what's permissible, obviously if there's a seawall that's
Yeah.
already there. I mean, I'm still perplexed as to what to do with the holes in those areas, because that's one of the things that's
Yeah.
really making that worse.
yeah, right, it is. There's another one where the revetment that had been there has slowly, over time, sunk into the sand. So now you can't see it anymore, and it doesn't really protect the wall. Can that guy add revetment where this old revetment used to be, or do we want him to dig that up? Which
What
seems,
happens-
Well, because then it would just undermine underneath. It would make sense that if it was permitted to,
Right.
yeah.
so
If
these
you
are,
start digging it up, you're gonna
That's
impact
worse.
seawalls
Right.
on
Yeah,
either
right,
side.
exactly right.
And that's a problem.
Building
Right.
on top of it would
Right.
probably
Because
ensure
now,
its
if these people lose their
survival.
seawalls, who are they gonna be
Well,
going after?
any feedback that you can get from the state to either encourage or discourage,
Right.
and then we can try to give them some, you hate to see someone spend
Right.
thousands of dollars
Right.
on engineering
right.
and plans and get nowhere.
There's a lot more houses down there destroyed than you think. The word isn't out how bad it is down there. I mean, you walk it all the time, but boy, there's foundations down, there's cracks in foundations, there's floors that are warped and, the water wrecked them.
It's bad.
It is.
It's not the only part of town that's bad, but it's bad.
Right. Yeah. So, all right, check with DEP, see what they say.
What else?
Enforcement?
That one is kind of on hold. I wrote to the attorney, and he hasn't gotten back to me, so that's next. And then there was that Bull Rush one that we can set up an appointment to see too. That's the one with the
The tractor.
tractor in the marsh. So maybe when I set up, what is it, Ingrid and the other one, I'll talk to these people, because the way we left it is, don't do anything else, I'll be back out, as soon as the weather gets better.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple other people that, guy that cleared his backyard right behind you there, and he's a lobsterman, and he said, come back in the spring, I'll do whatever planting you want, create a buffer.
That's the guy with the barn that
Yep.
he didn't know
Yep.
was there, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, it was all over the ground.
Yeah. Well,
He
was-
won't work with
But
us.
yeah, I heard he was very,
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
was
was.
very, very pleasant. I wish
Right.
other people were.
All right, so,
nice.
that's it,
That's it?
from me, yep.
did you have,
Okay,
you
fine.
had some of that.
No, I think it was just that, and then, I think I asked you guys, I gotta get you a letter, Carol. I talked with Jennifer about,
Oh, yeah.
the deer hunting
Get it
stuff.
if you want.
and
I forgot.
I gotta draft something, and then I can get you guys to look at it. It was that piece that we did in Hingham, well, we didn't, I went with,
Yeah.
Ernie Foster, and then Jennifer was there with, right?
Yeah.
And they were concerned about the Lyme disease. And what the proposition was, they're trying to get DCR to open Wampatuck State Park to deer hunting, because they feel that,
Oh, it isn't open to deer hunting?
No.
Wow.
And so they're hoping that the state would look at that. But then the other part of it was to encourage people to give permission to hunters to hunt closer
To
to
closer
their
land,
property,
yeah.
because it's a 500-foot distance. And if people are really concerned about that. But it was amazing that, I mean, that whole room was full, and there was hardly anyone that was opposed. That between crop damage, landscape damage, and Lyme disease, people are like, they have a whole different
It's a
attitude
motivating
than
issue,
they had
for
a few
sure.
years ago. that's for
Yeah.
sure. And they talked about the pros and cons of trying to manage that, and things that really worked and that didn't work. So I made some notes, and I gotta try to spend a few minutes and get something to Carol.
How,
And what I want to do is get this, so we can give it to the selectmen, hopefully get their endorsement, then we can go back to DCR and encourage that.
Okay. How overpopulated does the Fish and Wildlife Water think we are in this?
Way over.
Way over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zones, I think it's 9 and 10, or 10 and 11, is basically eastern Mass. I mean, the deer population in western Mass now has gone down a lot. Part of it is because there were too many at one time and then they exploded.
Yeah.
But right now, the eastern zones are the ones that are really bad, and the Cape and Islands are as well.
Yeah. I would like to see more of it done here in Scituate, in the West End.
Well, it's amazing how many people do hunt. They had a lot of statistics, they had biologists, they had people from Fish and Wildlife. It was good, it was good information.
Yeah.
There's one other quick one, 15 Newell. This is, I got a call from someone who's trying to buy the house at 15 Newell, and wanted to know if there was any outstanding orders. I couldn't find any orders, but there was an old enforcement order. And somebody had cut down some trees and some vegetation, and then it just kind of stopped. There was a couple of meetings about enforcement. This goes back several years.
Where is it?
Right near Rich's house, in Central and New Hummerock.
I shouldn't have asked, I'm sorry.
So,
It should be assumed.
Did the vegetation grow back?
it may have grown back, so I'd like, if someone want to take a look with me, we could take a look, and it may be a case of, it was created as a lawn and shouldn't have been, it should have been more natural, or maybe it's grown back in and we could take a look, so.
Well, you guys
But it's
got
not a major
scientists
rush.
out there.
Yeah. We have
Okay.
a Hummerock Day coming up soon. So we could take a look at that and see if it can be let go, or whether something needs to be planted, or whether it looks good.
Pear trees.
Oh, don't,
Don't.
oh,
Motion to adjourn.
oh,
Wait.
Oh, I don't have my glasses on.
oh.
I make a motion to accept the
That's
minutes
coming
of
up.
March
Next
4th
meeting.
as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Motion to
make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.